A random man tried to rope my girlfriend at a party and I defended her, but the cops arrested me for assaulting him. My girlfriend Emma was getting drinks at the kitchen counter when I saw this guy grab her wrist and pull her toward him. She was struggling, trying to twist away, and I did what anyone would do. I ran over and shoved him off her, hard. He fell backward into a table, knocking over bottles and cups. People started yelling. Emma was crying and shaking, saying thank you over and over. The guy got up holding his shoulder, and that's when someone screamed that the cops were already outside. I figured they'd shake my hand. I was wrong. 3 officers walked straight past the guy who grabbed my girlfriend and put me in handcuffs instead. I kept saying he attacked her first, that I was just protecting her, but they weren't listening. They raided me my rights and walked me out past a crowd of people filming on their phones. At the station, they put me in an interrogation room and left me there for 2 hours. No explanation, no charges read, just silence. When a detective finally came in, he dropped a file on the table and asked if I knew who I'd assaulted tonight. I said I didn't know him at all, that he was a stranger who grabbed my girlfriend. The detective's expression didn't change. He just nodded slowly and left again. Emma came to pick me up 6 hours later after they released me on bail. She was quiet the whole drive home, which I figured was just shock from what happened, but she wouldn't look at me, not once. The next morning, I woke up to find her packing a bag. She said she needed space to process everything and was staying with her sister for a few days. I asked if she was okay, if she wanted to talk about what that guy did to her. She just said it was complicated and left. I tried calling her that night, straight to voicemail. I texted asking if I could bring her anything. No response. I called her sister's number and got a message saying the number had been disconnected. My friends from the party weren't responding either, not a single one. I'd known some of them for years, and suddenly nobody would answer my calls or texts. When I drove to my buddy Marcus's apartment, his roommate said he'd moved out 2 days ago, but I'd just seen Marcus at the party. The charges came through on day 3, aggravated assault. The prosecutor was asking for a minimum of 5 years because apparently the guy I pushed had a broken collarbone and 2 cracked ribs. That didn't make sense. I shoved him once. He fell onto a table. That's it. I hired a lawyer who requested the police report and evidence file. When we met to review it, he looked uncomfortable. He showed me photographs of the guy's injuries, and they were severe. Way more damage than a single push could cause. His face was bruised and swollen. There were cuts on his arms like he'd been in an actual fight. I told my lawyer that wasn't right, that I only pushed him once. He asked if I'd been drinking, if maybe I didn't remember everything clearly. I'd had 2 beers over 3 hours. I remembered every second. My lawyer found something else in the file. The guy's name was Daniel Porter. I'd never heard of him, but when I searched the name online, I found his social media, and there was Emma. In his photos, going back 2 years, birthday parties, beach trips, Thanksgiving dinners. They were together in every picture, and in most of them, Daniel had his arm around her. The most recent photo was from 3 months ago. I drove to Emma's parents' house because I didn't know where else to go. Her mom answered the door and immediately tried to close it when she saw me. I asked where Emma was, and she said I needed to leave before she called the police. I asked why everyone was acting like I was the criminal when I was defending her daughter. Her mom's face changed. She looked confused for a second, then almost sad. She asked what exactly Emma had told me about that night. I said Emma was grabbed by a stranger and I protected her. Her mom went quiet for a long time. Then she said Daniel wasn't a stranger at all, that he and Emma had been engaged for 3 years before I came along, that Emma had left him 6 months ago to be with me, but that still didn't explain the assault charges. It didn't explain why the injuries were so severe when I barely touched him. It didn't explain why everyone at that party disappeared. I drove back to my apartment trying to piece it together. When I walked in, my laptop was open on the kitchen table. I always kept it closed. There was a video file on the desktop that hadn't been there before. I clicked play and saw myself at the party, but not pushing Daniel once. The video showed me on top of him, throwing punch after punch while Emma stood behind me recording on her phone and smiling. Because the rest of the story is on my channel or linked below.